An image of the 3C Atlas appears, also quite interesting. This would have been photographed on December 2nd. Reports indicate Johann O'Horo's telescope would have detected gas and dust jets from the 3C Atlas. What stands out this time is what we're seeing here. This peak, this jet of light, kind of green in color, would be pointing toward the sun. There it is, pointing exactly toward the sun, and this part that's blue. If you look at it, it would be, let's say, like the little pieces coming off the object, which are, let's say, opposing the solar wind. The solar wind is pushing everything that way. This is normal as solar wind exists. All this movement is caused by the solar wind pushing everything. What stands out is this jet of energy, a jet of energy that has some pretty interesting characteristics since it contains nickel, for example. Yes, I'm sure they'll report it. This behavior is very uncommon. In fact, well, up until now, something exactly like this has never been seen before. The commitment of the astronomers now is extremely important, since now it's possible to observe things in a much more interesting way. The discovery of these latest images from days 2 and 1 has shown an even clearer and more interesting behavior. 2 images were published. This is one, so let's check if this is the other. There we can also see these jets, which are slightly green in color. This one was apparently taken by Laura May Abron from North Los Angeles with the Baus Baonis Vespera 2 telescope, which shows that the accessible equipment of independent astronomers is achieving very impressive, very interesting images. And where are the images from the major observatories? If people are achieving this with their own telescopes, what must the images from the observatories be like? Why aren't they showing them? They say, well, that they are very happy with these images, but also on the other hand, there are some questions that are starting to be asked. For example, the possibility that what they call volcanoes are forming. In the event that it is a natural comet, there are features that are showing possible ice volcanoes or cryovolcanoes, exactly cryovolcanoes. So that's another topic that will also be analyzed, obviously, since it's something that still can't be determined. There are many anomalous things within these possible explanations. What these gas jets show is that there could possibly be cryovolcanic activity, but for now it's not very clear. Gases like carbon dioxide do erupt from its interior, and this, well, according to the activity they observe, could be one of the possible explanations. Let's see what happens, right? But in the meantime, we'll keep observing this comet object, or whatever we want to call it. The interesting thing is what it's giving us. What it's giving us also the curiosity about space, regardless of what is being discovered little by little, right? Several things catch your attention. Where is the information, the cascade of information they claimed they were going to start revealing? Since all of last week and the week before, people are still waiting. Where are those spectacular images that should be photographed by the world's best observatories? The information from Hubble, which is already several days old, where they reported that they had achieved the best 10 minutes of Comet 3 and Atlas, still hasn't been published. Where is the information? Now, it's been 5 days without reporting the speed of the comet. Where is it? Where are the spectacular images they should be photographing? Where are the spectacular images that should be there? World observatories? Where are they? Spectacular images that world observatories should be photographing? Where are the spectacular images that the world's observatories should have? Where are the spectacular images they should be photographing? Where are the spectacular images they should be photographing? Observatories? Where spectacular images that the observatories should be photographing. World? Where are the spectacular images that the world's observatories should be photographing?
Where are the spectacular images that should be photographing the world's?
Where are the spectacular images? Where are the spectacular images that should be photographing? Observatories of the world? Where are the spectacular images that the observatories should be photographing? Where are the spectacular images that the observatories should be photographing? Where are the spectacular images that the observatories should be photographing? Where are the observatory images? Where are those observatory images? Where are the world's observatory images? Where are those amazing images? The world's top observatories? Where are those images? The best observatories? Decided? Well, let's move on to other important information. Moving on to other important matters as well. Well, Donald Trump is pointing out that what's happening in Venezuela is just a part of what's going on. Come on, a large part of the United States Navy is moving. It's not just to stop Nicolas Maduro or to attack the Los Soles group. But this sends a signal that goes beyond, in fact, not just beyond, it goes way beyond any campaign. The United States seems to be escalating this strategy, though to other points that aren't very clear. But Donald Trump confirms that the United States' military operations in the Caribbean against vessels linked to trafficking are only a small part of a supposedly much broader strategy.
Yes, well, actually, in yesterday's press conference at the White House, he was very clear. He said Colombia. He said Colombia. I mean, he said it without mincing words. I'm not sure about Mexico, though I believe it was included, but he was very clear about Colombia.
I want to make a quick parenthesis here because he mentioned something very interesting. On his channel today, Giras discussed these topics. And well, he says, one thing is that he wants to operate within a clearly dictatorial country where he ignores all rights, where he has already stolen the elections several times and so on. Another thing, he says, though it may come across badly, Petro is an unacceptable person, and though he can say whatever he wants, it's not whatever you want.
But they voted.
But he is a democratic president, just like here the Mexican president. I mean, one thing is to mess with a country like this one that wasn't even chosen by the people, and another thing which is very different is wanting to. If that's true, then there are no rules left. All absolute rules are broken and everyone does whatever they want. And that turned into chaos. So obviously, where is the line, right? How far is going too far? So, well, the conference looked more intense.
It seemed more intense, part of yesterday and today. I actually sent you the dubbed ones where he mentions Venezuela and says they could go further. And the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, also, well, today he denounced this, which for me is even more important than the shovel. This thing about the cartels, about Iran and Hezbollah, where he says there is a base there.
That there is a base of these terrorist groups. That's probably where it started.
Yes, that makes more sense to me.
That's exactly where it must have started, because it was easier that way. Congress, including both Democrats and Republicans, approved the entire movement. But the other ones seem to have a more ambiguous justification. Now let's listen to what Trump said, already dubbed into Spanish.
If you look at our thank you, the drugs coming in by sea have dropped by 91%. I'm surprised that there's 9% here. Whatever, I don't know who's doing the 9%, but it's dropped by 91%, and we're going to start very soon on land. And I'm sure you're excited to hear that, Mr. President, about...
I'm very sure you'd like to hear that. Well, assures Trump. Well, Trump, you know, that's the style of handling the numbers, and you say it's exaggerated. Everyone looks around wondering where he gets those numbers. Those are his numbers, but after a few days he comes up with different ones, constantly changing them. He says 91% would have been stopped, then asks where the other 9% comes from. It's like he just makes himself look good. I mean, the point is that supposedly 91% of the drugs no longer go by sea. No.
It wasn't the main route.
Everyone. Well, it was already known that only 30% of the drugs go by sea. But anyway, of that 30%, supposedly 90% would already be blocked, limited. There's also another interesting message from this conversation which happened in the Oval Office at the White House. Let's listen.
Mr. President, switching to Venezuela for a second, has spoken again with President Maduro. I mean, is your pressure campaign working? And do you think the way he has responded to your demand that he leave the country is working? How is it not a pressure campaign? It's much more than that, I think. But I spoke briefly with him. I just told him a couple of things. We'll see what happens with that. Venezuela sends us drugs, but Venezuela also sends us people they shouldn't be sending. They emptied their prisons into our country. They sent us murderers, killers. They sent us high-level drug traffickers. They sent us gang members. They sent us people from their mental institutions. They emptied their mental institutions into our country. And other countries did it too, because we had stupid people running this country, really stupid people. And I think you probably had some stupid people and you had some smart ones, but they were also bad people, because not everyone was stupid. You can't cheat in the elections like they did and be stupid. According to you, President, right? What? With Maduro? Did I speak to him again? No, I didn't.
Well, so did you speak with Maduro? Nicolas Maduro himself also confirmed the call, saying it was a cordial conversation. Maduro says in this new message. Well, the thing is that they talked. The thing is that nobody knows what's going to happen. Because, well, one day Trump seems like he's going to act immediately. Another day he says that, well, he doesn't know what he's going to say, that it goes beyond just the topic. Yesterday he mentioned Colombia in relation to Venezuela. Well, today even the topic of the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement has come up. I mean, with the possibility that now he controls until when the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement continues. I mean, or if he decides, then the United States leaves the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement or whatever he's proposing there.
Well, he says it expires next year, yes. And if we let it expire, or maybe we reach another agreement with Mexico and Canada, he says Mexico and Canada have taken advantage of the situation. You know, I don't blame them, because we had stupid people and they're in charge again, a lot of stupid people in charge. That was the comment he made today.
Well, there it is, right? That's also another thing that draws attention. Meanwhile, there's also been talk about what you mentioned regarding radical groups within Venezuela. I mean, we're basically talking about Hezbollah operating in this country, this Lebanese group, which, by the way, is a Lebanese group, but it's run by the Iranians, by the regime of the Ayatollahs.
Exactly. Today, in an interview you gave to Fox News, you made this revelation that the Venezuelan regime, which is a source of instability throughout the region and has allowed these violent actors from the Middle East, he says. They are inside Venezuela, he says, because of the presence of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, and they are already in part of Venezuelan territory. He says almost 8 million Venezuelans have left the country due to the regime's actions. The country is also a place where Iran has a presence, and that's not talked about enough. That's good. In fact, on the walls in many parts of Venezuela, there are images, for example, of Chavez next to the one who was killed by Donald Trump on January 1st, Soleimani. I mean, there are images that are super surreal, right? This mix of heroes from Iran and Hezbollah, mixed with heroes from Nicolas Maduro's regime.
Well, I had this character for you, the one who's of Syrian origin, whose parents are Syrian, right? He was bringing people from over there. He had this relationship with all those groups. And well, even here, people from Venezuela have told us how, for example, the number of mosques and groups coming from over there has been increasing and how they've been settling in Venezuela. And that's been happening for years. Let's move to another topic. Bleached hair dye. Exactly. In Well, there's an image or a series of images that have been appearing about what happened in the Caspian Sea. Well, something strange is happening. Obviously, because it's not the first time we've seen seals or some kind of little animals around there too. Do you remember dolphins? Some time ago, they started appearing lifeless in the Caspian Sea, hundreds and hundreds of them. There have already been several instances of this kind of pollution. We have to remember that, well, part of the Caspian Sea is controlled by Russia. And they were specifically accused of releasing some kind of toxic substance. Whether it was accidental, intentional, or whatever, the point is that this is happening and obviously the alarms are going off. What's happening in the Caspian Sea? The Caspian Sea, to begin with, we have to remember that it's not actually a sea, it's a lake. The Caspian Sea is huge, it's gigantic, that's why they call it the Caspian Sea. And well, 480 dead seals have been found.
Exactly, almost 500 have been found. It's a species that's endangered. They were found dead on this Russian coast. And has it arrived? Officials from the Republic of Dagestan have started an investigation today, Wednesday. And the Minister of Natural Resources of Dagestan said that the team is starting to inspect 300 kilometers of the coast where they were seen. These seals are spread over 300 kilometers, not concentrated in one spot, he says. So far, they have found 484 seal bodies washed up on the shore. And she added that the search has extended to several coastal districts and the authorities are collecting them. And obviously to remove the bodies because they can cause diseases, but also to determine what caused these deaths.
There is an idea that it could be gas eruptions within the Caspian Sea, but that's something that would obviously have to be proven. But well, it's not normal. Obviously, this isn't normal. Who knows what's happening? What could be the reason? Hopefully, we find out soon. Yeah, well, for years now, we've seen that every 2, 3, 4 months, there are situations like this. This one just felt too much to us. That's how they are.
There are so many of them.
There are too many SEALs.
And because the one from Dagestan wants, let's say, to justify that this is something normal, but no, that amount can't be normal.
Yes, no, not at all. Look at the size. Check out the size. I mean, this is the Black Sea, this is the Sismar, and this is the Caspian Sea.
Some European countries are even smaller.
They are much smaller, of course. The Caspian Sea is really huge. And well, now with this situation, with that problem, there was talk about some kind of toxins and also about some kind of gas coming up from under the sea. Well, who knows? The point is that now there's something else happening too. And what's happening right now is also important. A travel report is made, not a notice, a warning. Level 4, according to what the United States Department of State itself publishes. This, well, is already public on the official account, as we can see from the State Department's travel account, where basically they, as you can see there, the level 4 warning is a warning issued for travel to Venezuela, right? That's also what draws attention today. It's a warning that's in line, let's say, with what's happening right now in this potential conflict, he says. Venezuela. The travel alert for Venezuela remains at level 4. Americans are advised not to travel to or stay in Venezuela due to a high risk of wrongful detention, torture, terrorism, kidnapping, arbitrary enforcement of local laws, crime, civil unrest, and poor healthcare infrastructure. All American citizens, men, and legal permanent residents in Venezuela are strongly advised to leave the country immediately. Read the full travel alert, and then there's a link for people who are interested to read the complete warning about this topic, right? So we'll just be careful with that issue, okay? Obviously, that's also part of what's happening in the area right now. Another thing that also caught people's attention and hasn't really been talked about much, it was all very subtle. Is it this influencer? No, well, DJ is not a DJ, rather she was sanctioned by the United States for being linked to the Tren de Aragua. What stands out is that also the censorship or the sanction to Mexico. I mean, today Mexico was also issuing several sanctions similar to those of the United States. Do you realize that parallel to the United States imposes sanctions and Mexico does too? This would show, without saying it too much, because you know the Mexican government likes that. Like keeping this relationship with certain regimes, right? But kind of pretending not to, not really wanting to. This is also a sign, let's say, a wink. Let's say to the government of the United States, to the Trump administration, as if saying, I'm with you too, just like Brazil has done, by the way. I mean, Brazil. Also, Boric himself, the Chilean president, has been very critical of this Maduro. But Mexico, Petro, and some other countries, well, they haven't really been very critical or haven't been openly critical of the Maduro regime. Suddenly, Petro wakes up critical one day, then claims he's not. Very ambiguous. In fact, he hasn't recognized the Venezuelan government as the current government. But today, Mexico joins the United States Department of the Treasury to financially pursue the Venezuelan actress and DJ Jimena Araya, known as Rosalita or something like Rosita. She is accused of having a romantic relationship with Hector Rustem for Guerrero, alias Niño Guerrero, leader of the criminal gang Tren de Aragua. It's a good attention-grabbing topic. The Ministry of Finance and Public Credit stated that the Financial Intelligence Unit is working to locate this DJ. Well, it's an interesting topic, a topic where, without publicly saying it, they're positioning themselves on an issue that is obviously escalating almost to the level of pre-conflict. So it's an interesting topic. Let's move on to another important matter. This isn't about the government being on the verge of something, but as I was saying, Boric's government is going to remove all privileges from military personnel imprisoned for crimes against humanity. A topic that caught attention after 2 legal appeals were declared inadmissible, the Minister of Justice, Jaime Gajardo, reported yesterday. I think it was that the prison service will soon remove personal refrigerators and other recent belongings from military personnel imprisoned for crimes against humanity. So like they had luxuries, they had their luxuries, they had their privileges. And he said, wait, I don't know why they had those privileges, but they've been taking them away.
Exactly. In the facility, it's already a regular prison. There are no longer any special facilities for those who committed serious crimes during the military dictatorship. In the end, they wiped out their own population. Also, I mean, with Gallardo, there is still a restriction being applied to external packages, and that's the only thing that's on hold. The rest, such as removing refrigerators, currently have no legal measures in place.
That's the issue. Let's move on to other important topics. Hey, well, there's a situation that's catching people's attention. This is really drawing attention now. You can see how there are operations against Russia. Outside of Russia, I mean, this is becoming more and more noticeable. We had already seen this in Africa against the Wagner Group, with Ukrainians sending intelligence all the way to Africa to pursue and attack members of the Wagner Group who caused so much harm. This time, there have been three ships recently sunk near Turkey, 3 ghost oil tankers that were going to load oil in that region from the Dead Sea, and this one from the Black Sea. Sorry, right? Yes, from the Black Sea. And then suddenly they sink them with these marine drones. But this time, even in Senegal, there's a movement that also shows how Ukrainian intelligence is working. Assuming it's them, because obviously we don't know this.
Yes, of course, they don't claim anything. But anyway, who has been the suspect in this case? Because, well, he has extended his fight from Moscow to the African Atlantic coast after a series of explosions that destroyed. An oil tanker called Mercy has been accused of belonging to this Russian ghost fleet. And well, last weekend they released videos showing how they attacked the ghost ships off Turkey's coast. You'd think Senegal is also Ukraine, right? The Turkish-owned one, by the way, and flying the Panamanian flag, was carrying almost 39,000 tons of fuel and was hit from the outside by 4 explosions.
What else is good?
The incident adds to this wave of attacks against ships from the Russian ghost fleet in the Black Sea, in the Mediterranean, and now in West Africa. Some are sea baby drones used by the Ukrainians, operated via satellite.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting, honestly. Well, we'll be paying attention. This is happening in this region off the coast of Senegal, if I understand correctly, right?
Quite a bit.
Not quite far.
They told him.
In this area where this situation happens, let's see, right? Now, from a financial point of view, well, it's a hit, but not a big one.
His oil sales, which were attacked recently, have also dropped by 39%. An Indian planned to buy it, but then decided not to buy from the Russians.
Well, there it is, right? That's the pressure that has been spreading from their side. And despite the supposed deals with Trump and Vladimir Putin, because today Trump mentions that Steve Witkoff, the advisor for achieving peace in Ukraine, who met yesterday with Vladimir Putin. He told him that yes, he does see that Putin is interested in pursuing peace, and that made him very happy. Trump, and you say,
when did you see that? It never happened, right? And yes, today he was very anti-Ukraine. In fact, well, he commented about the letters. Do you remember the first time Trump and Zelensky met? He said he never had the letters. There was a submission error from the beginning. I mean, he keeps going with this brainwashing thing he has, and I don't know why, what it brings them, what they know.
And besides that, this comes along, he brings it. I think that Plummer, if I'm not mistaken, there are other calls also from Witkoff that are about to be revealed. We were expecting to have the lists right now, but they haven't published them, but it's known that they're going to publish other phone calls. We don't know who's revealing this, but obviously we're going to watch. What's really behind Trump's interest in maintaining this relationship with Russia and Wilkov being so close to Russia? That's a topic we'll obviously keep discussing. By the way, another thing that stands out is that after 40 years, Israel and Lebanon have resumed civil contacts. This under the supervision of the United Nations. This is historic and very interesting.
It's historic, and well, it's good to share some positive news from the region every now and then. It might seem sometimes that there's no peace, right? But well, despite this new diplomatic contact, the Lebanese prime minister, whose name is Nawaz Salam, warned that this meeting does not amount to broader peace talks between Israel and Lebanon. So, I mean, let's not get too excited either. This Pepe says, officially, we are still in a state of war. I mean, remember that they only have a peace agreement. It was just recently, a year ago, more or less. The meeting took place at a United Nations peacekeeping force base in Aqwa, Lebanon, near the border with Israel, as part of the mechanism to monitor the ceasefire that came into effect there. In 2024, it's a year.
We're going to be paying attention to that, so there it is, right? This meeting was led by the former United States Ambassador Simon Karam. The Lebanese delegation was small, led by this person, and on the Israeli side, the representative Uri Riznik, who is also from Israel's National Security Council. So it's interesting, honestly, that these meetings are taking place. Although there's no peace agreement yet, at least there's a civil dialogue instead of a military one, right? And that already tells you a lot about where this situation is heading. Things are calming down little by little, and well, let's move on to other important matters as well. There's an interesting story where a raccoon apparently entered this liquor store. We're seeing it right there. Just imagine, check it out. How about that?
Completely drunk?
A raccoon goes into this liquor store and gets totally wasted. Also, he grabbed some good booze.
Don't set the glass aside. He spilled everything this way.
If not, it's just that, well, he was hurt. They say Mapacha had left him, and besides, he grabbed some. Look, whiskey, yeah, black label scotch, black label. I mean, he went and just like that, downing the bottle. In the end, he basically ended up puking there in the bathroom, right? But let's just say that at least for a moment, he forgot about that heartbreak. Is that a Chihuahua thing? I mean, suddenly going from... We're talking about Lebanon and Israel, and they show it. A raccoon, a bad drunk, the raccoon? Well, obviously they're going to charge him, but I don't think he's going to pay.
If not, then no. By the way, I'm not sure if that's from National in Virginia. And did the authorities give you a good post on social media? Well, the animal came in through the roof in the early morning of the 29th. He literally drank bottles of Scotch whiskey. I know you're joking, but he really did drink whiskey like that. And, well... And it caused damage to the roof, and the employee found him passed out in the bathroom shortly after opening in the morning. Investigations confirm all this. Obviously, they found footage and everything, and while nothing happened, he's in rehab now, and that's it. And poor thing's probably going to throw up.
Actually, there is a study that confirms raccoons are becoming domesticated. I mean, they're starting to interact more and more with humans. Even their little snouts are slowly changing. Their ears are changing too. I mean, there's something happening. I don't know if it's evolution or involution, but they're changing.
A humanization.
A humanization like with dogs?
Yes.
Well, yes. I mean, I think it's because of a chumas, right?
If it's from this one.
They're becoming, let's say, more docile with humans. And well, that's it. They grab the bottle and even get really drunk. Well, that's how things are. And speaking of curious stories, let's move on to another interesting story then. There's another interesting story today as well. These bats, the vampires, are changing their accent according to reports to integrate and strengthen their social bonds. The classic adaptation, right? But from bats to be well received.
To be exact, more or less, it's like the phenomenon that Paulina Rubio present. When she goes to Spain, she speaks Spanish, and when she goes to the United States, she was recently evicted from her house due to a large debt. She no longer spoke Spanish, she spoke partly in English and couldn't remember Spanish words.
Not in Spanish anymore, of course.
You could easily tell if she was losing her mind.
Not this Hugo Sanchez, as he just arrived in Madrid. And it's like, hey, geez, here I'm the number one player.
Also another one, well, okay. This study was published in the journal Proceedings of the Royal Society B, Biological Sciences, which showed that common vampire bats, the ugly ones, don't change.
Don't call them ugly, they are
The ugly ones.
in front of us.
You told them the fruits are the pretty ones. They modify their vocalizations to resemble those of their closest companions, especially to form social bonds and share food. Animals have accents based on where they live. A city duck sounds different from a rural duck, right? It's something that's really striking that they adapt in order to have a social relationship.
I'd like to hear a vampire bat, but from Yucatan, I mean, that would be the best accent there is right now. But anyway, I look for it, and I don't find it. Let's move on to other matters. Other also interesting news from around the world.
Well, it turns out that computers made from human brain cells or tissue are already on their way. It's a topic that's super science fiction, right? Now it's a bit scary. Will it be artificial or real intelligence?
No. In some way, we could already say that this is an intelligence, well, biological, right? I mean, because it would literally have these neurons. And one of the things that caught my attention, I've been reading about this for a while now, and we've talked about it here, but these could surpass the quantum computer. I mean, if so, quantum computers wouldn't even be necessary anymore. We haven't even reached them yet.
And we're not even jumping anymore?
We shouldn't have to jump over them.
They'd be called biocomputers.
Biocomputers?
Biocomputers. It's just that artificial intelligence right now, well, it has a limit in the current phase of technology, but with the introduction of human brain cells, let's say the hardware of computers, well, it skyrockets.
This basically, and maybe right now we're not understanding it because we don't see it as something so close, but this is basically a technological revolution. This is a before and after for all the technology we've known. It's that change we thought would come with quantum, and it doesn't come with quantum, it comes with these biocomputers. Yes, exactly, and they're super efficient. I mean, they don't heat up, even economically speaking. They use less energy. With a bunch of really crazy things. There have been several questions here, because it says those neurons replicate. You don't realize they're from a person, but they actually do replicate. It's not like they're going to be here taking them out.
It's like they clone themselves on their own?
Exactly, right? But what's interesting is, well, who owns that technology? There's been a lot of debate about ownership. Shouldn't the person it was taken from be involved too? I mean, yeah.
Like, who owns what? That's slavery. Because you're forcing an entity to work?
A cell in logic. I mean, let's see if they manage to make one. Let's see. A computer, artificial intelligence. Yes, super intelligent. No, and besides, if it has biological neurons, then it's considered a being, an entity, or not. I mean, I don't know. There, interesting questions can come up in ethics and in reflecting on technological advancement, but this is heading in that direction, right? It's not something we're going to see soon, right? I mean, like next year or anything, but it's already advancing more and more intensely, almost ours. Well, yes, kind of like an intelligent organism, not something super exact.
Right now, the ones that exist, what can they do? Can they play punk? Well, it's very simple. But they also recognize voices, and as we mentioned, they're known as biocomputers and combine human neurons grown on electronic interfaces. I think we already showed the image of what they look like here about a month ago. And this boom is due to three key forces. The first is the massive investment in artificial intelligence. This is impressive. Advances in brain tissue cultures, which are called organoids, the accelerated development of brain-computer interfaces. And the company leading this whole project is called Final Spark, and the Australian company Cortical Labs, which is leading in this race between these two related companies.
Ban on powerful AIs. to leave. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, 370 didn't just vanish.
Very strange. The Netflix documentary is really good in case you didn't really hear much about the case.
Yeah, it's very thorough. It's very thorough.
Greetings to Marcela Riquelme, Maria Sanchez, and Walter. How are you, Walter? She says, hi, how are you?
We've already been here an hour.
Yes, greetings and greetings to Jose Handel, who says, come on, guys, we need more likes. We're missing some. Come on, guys. Greetings to Marcela Riquelme and greetings to Magdalena. That must be worrying. Take care. We didn't expect it.
How are you, Jose? Greetings to Lay. Jose.898. Very good. Federal Trade Commission. How are you? How have you been? Leonardo says, hello, Pepe. I'm investigating. The new economy will run on information, and controlling its metadata means controlling China and the United States. It's a race for information. How are you, Leonardo? Greetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raul.
Greetings, Raul Science. Thank you so much also for that super chat. We really appreciate it, Raul. A big, big greeting. And well, what else does it say?
Here, Magdalena Moronta says, good evening, Pepe. I'm already in the room. No one knows the fear we have. We Venezuelans who are inside, we are limited in everything. So we have to comment and verify. So before commenting, verify, says Magdalena. Greetings, and we always verify.
Obviously.
Yes, I get it. You're scared because you don't know what will happen.
Exactly. We send greetings, hope you're well, and wonder what else is out there.
He greets Maximiliano Castillo. Everyone is born with feelings, but emotions are a result of the love and appreciation you receive from the community. Greetings, Maximiliano.
How have you been, Maximiliano? How about you, Alfonso Galloso? Greetings to California. Thank you very much. It says cooking and listening to some delicious Mexican-style purslane. Is that right? Greetings, Alfonso. Greetings.
Greetings, it says Centeñas. Good evening, Pepe from Panama. I enjoy chatting. Great humor and greetings, she says.
Thanks, Nadilcia. How are you? Greetings, Pitbull, he says. Greetings to the family and the best vibes and wishes for everyone. A hug from afar. Greetings, Pitbull. Hope you're doing well, he says. Didn't it look like it had already started? Oh, wow, Alice, didn't you get the notification? Greetings, Alice, he says. Always supporting from Uruguay, waiting for the big boy to come out of the movies, he says. Miguel, how have you been? Miguel? Greetings. Are you also there? Outside the movies waiting, he says. Federal Trade Commission, Jose Gonzalez, thanks for like number 266. What's up, Gigi? How have you been? Greetings, Gigi. Very good. Tapatia, also a big hello. How's it going? Great. Who else is here?
Greetings to Francisco Arce, she says. If they are biological neurons, they can get drunk. Well, if you pour alcohol on them, if you kill them, what's going to happen?
If you clean them there, I suppose they're protected, right? Somehow, how do they stay there? Also? That's the question, right? How do they maintain this? Well, the stability and everything, he says. But did the parachute open? Yes, exactly. Gerardo, the parachute opened. That's it. Well, obviously, were they saved?
Gigi asks if they could respond to chemical stimuli or create emotions. Well, for example, falling in love isn't exactly the release of a hormone. If you inject cortisol, are they gonna fall in love with those? I don't know, maybe.
I don't know why, he says. Hello, how have you been, Maria Lorena? How have you been? Hello.
Miguel Alejandro says it's very good, though sometimes they ask for a sandwich through the CD tray.
I'm hungry, aren't I? He says it's strange, according to Venezuela. The Americans say no, that they haven't entered because it's not as easy as it seems, but nothing is clear. I think that's also the case. I mean, it's not clear. They've kept it that way. Well, there is, because supposedly the CIA is operating, right? The CIA has been operating for several weeks, possibly months. But let's say that officially, publicly, they were given the order a few weeks ago, right? But I mean, the fear here is the lack of control, that everything could go wrong. Yes, and in the end, you say, hey, I wanted to prevent more migrants from coming, and it gets so out of control that now more migrants are coming because things just get out of control.
It got ugly. These little groups started to take control.
Not exactly. So the main question is, how far can the operation go? Because, Well, yes, that's exactly why, because of the possibility that this could get out of control, that the plan is, Maduro's plan to create more internal disorder to generate chaos. In other words, to self-sabotage if they attack me. Yes, that's possible. Neri Salazar, how are you? Greetings. Thank you so much for always being here. We send you a big greeting, Juan de la Cruz. Also greetings to the Teneristas in Texas. There's my friend from Texas.
Of course, De La Cruz.
How are you? Are you well?
Cheetah, what's left? There's a Netflix documentary called MH370 about the plane that disappeared. It's easy to find.
Yes, it's very simple. It's very good.
It's this one. There are three. There are 3 episodes.
There were some hypotheses I didn't expect them to include, but they did and provided interesting arguments, he says. Mosquitoes keep getting in. I'm swatting them. Where is Guiyu? Yes, it's hot there, but on this side, it's cold and there are no mosquitoes now, he says. Will the volcanoes start waking up if the magnetic field is affected by the solar storms today, Sunday? Yes, right? That's the question. Going into that assumption, into that idea that if that activity happens, well, the sun has been very active and, well, we've seen it this year. There has been little volcanic activity, and now that there's all this activity, well, it's been coinciding at least with a lot of volcanoes, right? Very, very active, right? Today it was Semiro, but, well, several more, right? Several more like that one and others that have been active.
Yes, it's been really, really good, yes.
Good evening,
says Marcela Riquelme. Every time there are more advances, but those computers that were sent to make us slaves scare me a little.
Greetings, how have you been?
Says Handel.
Says Astrid. Greetings, my Pepe. Hugs, guys, maybe, but for sure. Thank you very much, Jose Sihanda. Thank you very much, he says. Also, for greater efficiency in the biocomputer, it would need atomic power, as well as operating in a vacuum system. The future is already here. You're right, Gerardo. They're already inventing atomic batteries that last 50 years. Are the Chinese developing that now? Yes, well, obviously the first thing here, that invention is for example, imagine a camera that you're going to leave in Antarctica. Not only that, the energy gets drained very quickly because of the cold. So you leave the camera there, turned on, let's say, or a device, a tool for climate-related purposes, and you put all of this there. And with some atomic batteries, well, they don't generate pollutants, but at the same time, they're not infinite. But they last you 50, 60 years with full energy, so they're also useful for things in space. You launch a probe with atomic batteries that last a long time. So, yeah, there could be some interesting advances coming from that side, right? That would be super interesting, right? Yeah, he says. Benedict, how are you? Greetings. Thank you very much. Very good. If you want, let's go to Street Pepe Lovers. That's what Pepe says. I always invite friends to watch. Thank you very much, Nelly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nelly.
Give us a hint with that. By recommending us to whoever you think. I don't know if, hey, you know what? I know people interested in the news, international topics, or who just like it. Well, these discoveries that we talk about almost every day. Well, please, recommend us, he says. How are you, Gila Benedicto? Who else is out there? Juan, how have you been? Greetings all the way to the south of Chile? Yes.
Greetings to Juan Gabriel Magallon. How are you, Juan Gabriel? All the way to Panama City. Brezeca is here too. Very good, says Miguel Alejandro. Bats eat mosquitoes and other bugs, and they are super necessary, very necessary, yes. And they also pollinate. Hello to Marlene Flores as well. How are you?
Marlene, hello. Nice to meet you. Let's extend this newscast so you can finish your popcorn. Stay tuned.
Yes, right? Let's extend it. Greetings to Fernando Gutierrez, who says the land of chocolate.
What, Fernando?
We're going to speak very slowly today.
Like this,
Fernando says speaking slowly isn't for him. I have a question, Fernando. How is it that over the weekend they voted in Switzerland to change certain laws? One is that women don't have to do mandatory military service, which makes sense, right? In the end, women are always protected more because they are the ones who can reproduce, right? The other thing that caught my attention is that they voted so that taxes wouldn't be raised, taxes on the rich. I asked if maybe everyone in Switzerland is rich and that's why they don't want it. That's strange. It's weird, says Tapatia. How did he know he'd end up in the bathroom, poor guy?
Yeah, he showed up and said no.
Well, I think he was looking for water.
Maybe two.
Because they can smell it.
Then he got a hangover, right? He said, I'm going to get some water.
Yes, I'm going to get some water, he says. If they stole the Miss Universe crown, let it break at the World Cup and I'll get over it, Arshe.
They stole the World Cup.
Are they still talking about that? There's no Miss. I think it's Miss Haiti. How do they even have a Miss? Miss Haiti, who wants an investigation? I find it odd.
But how? Are they investigating Miss Haiti?
No, Miss Haiti is asking them to investigate Miss Universe. Because she says all of this is very strange.
Ah, okay, so you mean it's strange, but you're talking about the event. I thought they had literally stolen the crown, but no.
No, the crown from the event?
Ah, event, of course. Well, yes, a lot has been made of it.
Alex, did you see the show about the ex-seminarian who makes bold claims about the church?
Where's Alex? Let's check it out. This one? Greetings. Hey, by the way, Fernando was there. I hadn't seen him in a while. How has Fernando been? Greetings. Very good.
Greetings to Mijares watching from Colotlan, Jalisco.
What's up? Greetings, my people.
My good people, greetings to Benedicto Villegas too. Let's see who we read it to. Greetings from Karim. I recommend my friend El Samurai for unidentified flying object topics. You all provide excellent, thorough coverage. Thank you.
Thank you, greetings. I'll check it out. Ah, great, yes.
Greetings to Icon Render. How are you? Icon Render?
How have you been? You too? Greetings to Luis Manuel, Mr. Bebe. I'm just at the beginning, but my question is, when will the ground war in Venezuela happen, according to the experts? Let's see it. With Trump, you never really know, but he's been insisting on this for 2 or 3 days now, talking about how it's, what do they call it, imminent. He doesn't say the word imminent.
Yesterday he talked about Tierra already.
Exactly. Again, imminent means it's now, basically, I mean that they would already be about to operate. The thing is where is this movement going to be seen? Because for now, it's not happening. I wouldn't dare to set a date, but it seems like, it seems like it's already happening. Well, it's already happening, right? I mean, it's happening this weekend or right now. Yeah, if a week goes by and then 2, and you start saying this is cooling off and maybe it's not going to happen after all. Yeah, the thing is in what part of Venezuela, Caracas, or are they going to go from here to the mountains? Are they going to leave? We have to remember that there's already a map laid out showing all the supposed targets. No, they're going to operate, but it's unclear which ones will operate on land, and I assume they'll act by air first. I don't think they'll go for it on land, just like that.
Or more aggressively?
Exactly.
Well, more dangerous, more aggressive, and more...
Thinking about how they insist that the sea is already under control, there's nothing or almost nothing left to do in the sea. What comes next is on land. There's really no other way, right? This guy, he says, found fire water, as they used to call it. He tried everything and there was no water.
He says in the raccoon. Julio Boric says greetings. He is the most unpopular president of Chile since the return of democracy and has come close to being unconstitutional. That's the truth, because that's why the right almost reached 70% in the last vote.
There were many votes, of course, he says. Today I watched a YouTube video by Max and Noelia, who live in China, about the largest dam in the world. 3 gorges, very impressive. They've given 3 gorges.
Gorgeous, yes.
It's impressive that...
I know they removed a lot of towns from there, right? They took some away from you?
Yes. Impressive. And if I were 40 years younger, my day of life in China, he says. Tapatia, hey, there are some amazing places. Greetings, Tapatia. And look how, certain things have happened. It's like a huge infrastructure movement, really, really big. What a country does when it suddenly goes from not having much money to having 1.4 billion people producing. It becomes an issue, obviously, with those those super fast trains, right? The bullet trains and related developments have been fascinating. There's a trip that Rabadia takes that goes through China, that goes through several Asian countries. It's really good. They do it by train. Do you remember? See if you can check it out. It's really great. It's very entertaining, and you get to see how it's very efficient how they do it, even if you don't speak Chinese. The way and Singapore, all those countries don't really use it. I guess everything is more based on English, but yeah. Besides, there are really good apps for that.
It's called 3 Gorges?
Three Gorges, that's right. Three Gorges, Three Gorges. No, exactly, that's the one, says Enrique. How have you been? And did Guaya get lucky with Taquito because he's winning the presidency of Honduras? Salvita from the party, how have you been? Yes.
Right? It looks like he already won.
It seems so, it seems so. Let's see what people are saying out there. He says, the flood, when will it be? I say,
On December 25th.
not on December 25th, says the gentleman. Not exactly, that's it. Three Gorges, exactly, Three Gorges. Yes, yes, yes. How are you, Maximiliano? How have you been? Very good, he says. How do I say a little tiger, says Maximiliano.
Greetings, Maximiliano.
Greetings, he says. Today they speak perfect Chinese. Yes, they do speak Chinese. Yes, 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 he says. We live so much with you that I'm sorry, Father. That's it, Nancy. Well, same to you, Nancy. Hopefully one day we can meet those who can, right? And hopefully, yes, he says. Gyu, how are you? Hi, Gyu, doing well. Who else is here?
Yes, yes.
Someone should say, well, these photos, I mean, if they're actually going to take them. Because how many weeks or months did it take them to admit that these objects that were captured by this image that keeps following? The American soldiers took a long time to admit it, even when the images were leaked and, above all, from some secret program. So it's hard for them to admit it. At least for now, I see it as difficult, right? That they're going to admit it, I'm going to leave it in limbo, right? Well, it's probably a real image. The people from OIT, the intelligence guys, for example, they also uploaded it and so on. Several information sources that focus more on intelligence, well, they labeled it as a leak. Let's see if this can be confirmed, but so far, no. I mean, there's no way, and I think it's unlikely. I insist that they're going to give it, unless a lot of things happen behind the scenes. For example, if it changes direction, the slowdown is confirmed or something similar. So I think maybe then, well, they say, well, yes, right, this is happening, this is a possible probe, or it's this, or simply if it keeps going at the same speed. They're going to say it's a natural phenomenon and that's it, right? And goodbye. Let's see what happens.
She sends greetings to Gladys Rodriguez and her brother Jose in Florida, who is watching for the first time. We hope you keep enjoying the show and continue watching us. We're here every day with several live streams throughout the day. The one at night is the most comfortable, but this one is nice because we spend more time in the chat. Because I go out, well, I don't, but the morning one is really good. Both of the morning ones.
Trump is trending here.
This one is trending.
Pepe says 100% Trump will never attack Venezuela. I'll bet you $1 so you don't lose, Pepe. That's what I gave him. Look how interesting. It would actually be good to make a bet. I mean, this bet we made would be good. Besides,
we could open one just like Polymarket and we keep 10%.
A betting company. Imagine,
says Fernando Gutierrez. I wish we were all rich here, but what you really don't see here is poverty. Society is very equal. It's nice that it would be cool in the end, right? The thing is, there are people who are so rich that they have to invent a new name for them. Yes, and some people are so poor, you wonder why we can't fix it, right? Because that person is never going to run out of money in their entire life, nor will any of their future generations.
That's the thing. No, they don't just think about one generation. They think about
10?
No, not in 10 generations or 20 generations. They think for, as this one says, I mean, the point here about the bet, right, that you mentioned, here it is. I mean, this is the bet on the sea that it won't mature. It's going to be...
Well, so yes or no?
If it's going to be a bet on whether it will be ready by December 31, 2025 or March 31, 2026, and this is the percentage they see as the likelihood of release. So, look, to our friends in Venezuela who are watching us, take a look, see what most people in the United States believe. What's going to happen? And they're the ones who know their president, and many of them have privileged information. They have friends in the military, friends here, friends there. So you see how they start betting on one thing or another? As long as we see these percentages like this, I find it hard to believe there will be a surprise. honestly, suddenly we're going to start seeing these numbers change. When these numbers start to change, for example, right now they're already changing a little, just a little. But when this shoots up, I would say watch out because something is coming. It's just that in the end, power has become a business. To predict something. And here, this business is very hard to manipulate. Yeah, I mean, because it's very hard to manipulate it, because it's very hard to manipulate this polymarket data, because you're talking about millions and millions of dollars that are being bet. Yeah, especially on topics like this, or are there many millions here? Are we counting both? I mean, it's $15 million, 14 million in the one that comes here. This is the one from December, and it's just going to reach 1 million by March 31 because it's still a long way off. But the stakes are going to keep going up. So there's a volume of 14 million in one and almost 1 million in the other. And the other one is going to keep increasing. So it's like how you do it. If you wanted to manipulate from one side to the other, well, you'd have to put in a lot of money and be willing to lose that money. So that's why, look, here is Jerez. I think we've still been watching him. Do you want to know who's going to win an election? Who's going to win in this? In this, Polymarket almost always gets it right. And I mean, because in the end, it's the same people who are putting money in and they don't want to lose. So they do a deep analysis, or even with, I insist, exclusive information, and they bet one way or the other. So be careful with this. Keep an eye on it. Keeping this in mind, if it suddenly starts to change. And Canyon says this thing from March 31st just went up to 80%. Imagine if we woke up in the morning, we would say something, you know, and there's already an operation coming, something they're finding out about. And what's more, even the soldiers themselves, I mean, the ones who are there on the cruiser, on the aircraft carrier, not even they themselves, right? And look, bet here in my favor, not without saying anything, but look, here I bet on myself. In the end, they know when the operation will happen and can share that info, turning it into gossip, right? So I think it's interesting at least to look at it, to see this option, and what if management goes through with it? Trump said he would make a healthy free trade agreement with Mexico. We had to raise people's purchasing power so that we could buy, among other things. But if next 2026, the minimum wage in Mexico is going to increase by another 13%, there are some increases coming which I think are exactly due to that issue, right? But if he says it's not free to raise salaries in Mexico, Alex says no. He says the rat didn't come. Yeah. Or I think it's a wild boar, or maybe not. No, I don't know. Is it something?
A kitten.
A kitten, I just can't see.
The cat didn't make it.
This one says, guys, we need to send our positive vibes to our Venezuelan brothers. Exactly.
Greetings.
Very good.
Greetings.
Greetings. Very good.
Is Maximiliano Castillo sending it? How are you?
Ana Pepe says to comment, my granddaughter asked me why I didn't tell you that I have a birthday, that she has a birthday. I had my birthday on November 30th.
She had a birthday.
She had a birthday, that's why.
Girl says.
Ah, okay.
I thought we congratulated her for one day.
Yes, we congratulated her one day after reading.
But no.
But again, congratulations. Congratulations to your granddaughter, and a big hug for her and for your whole family. And we did see this one a day later. They didn't mention it.
Someone mentioned it.
Someone mentioned that no, we had missed that and we did it the next day. Greetings from Sana, and greetings to your granddaughter, he says. I believe in more obvious love, he says. Says Raul. Greetings. Well, then we have to keep checking to see what he says too. Let's see, he says. Jet Propulsion Laboratory published the speed. 237,000. It went down a bit, and yeah, it dropped from 245,000. Around there. German, but not as much as they're saying from what I've seen right now. German, I'll check it later and we'll talk about it in the morning. Right? But yeah, he even posted it. Well, that's good news you're giving me. And that's interesting because then it did go down, but not that much, right? We'd have to see if it goes down like they said or not. But if you just saw it, German, well, I'll check it out later too. But I appreciate you telling me about it. He might think it went down, but it wouldn't be by much, right? If it went down, it was just a little. That's what Raul says. XHGC, what's up?
Of course.
Of course, why not? This is the...
Uncle Gamboin,
5. Well,
Pepe,
carrying my grandson, and now Mello's asleep. I don't want to.
Greetings, this one. So right now, literally, you're watching us and you're with the wind right here next to you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
When they fall asleep like that, you know how kids are.
The troublemaker is around today. What's this guy's name? Lennon isn't doing well then? In the last broadcast, you didn't notice he was like that?
of course, the girls.
Yeah, their little legs, right?
Pepe says,
May God free Venezuela from that terrible punishment that is Maduro and his criminal friends. How are you, Karim? Greetings. And we'll see, well, what is his role? What is his part, let's say, in this whole movement? But I think that, well, something is coming. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, right? We haven't just been trying to analyze them ourselves, but also to look at many analysts from different backgrounds, and they all are. The analyst I see today, we don't know if he says no, Trump is not backing down. And on the same day, another very serious analyst, also very interesting. That's it, it's imminent if it's going to happen, because I have data here. And then another analyst says, well, I'm not sure. I mean, so wow. I mean, suddenly, if you saw, hey, it's 5 of the most serious analysts and they're all saying it's imminent, I would say maybe yes, but I don't see that. I mean, I don't see that certainty that everyone is thinking it's going to happen. Well, you see it in Polymarket too, where they also have that doubt. What you do see, though, is that there are movements. What you do see is that Trump says some things, but we already see how there's a difference between what he says and what he does. He says it suddenly gets tough. Pepe, I'm going to dinner. Enjoy those Guatemalan tamales. You know they're delicious. Well, we should try them to see how they are. They must be really good, says Angel Pepe. Imagine an amateur telescope with spectrometry. How awesome would that be, Angel? I mean, first of all, having a good telescope and a place where you can use it often would be amazing. Like the one Alex, this astrophotographer in Austin, uses. He has his channel here on YouTube, and the material he puts out is really great. And I mean, but it's, I don't know, I haven't checked the price of that telescope, but it looks like a pretty powerful telescope. And because of that, I've been coming across some so-called amateur astronomy channels that are really great. I mean, they do some incredible things. I mean, for example, images of the sun. There are some that are just focused, and they do have their telescope, I mean, more or less.
One of the big ones, they have lenses, yes.
A huge one, exactly, connected to professional cameras, so they capture incredible images of the sun and moon. Yes, there's significant investment involved. It's tens of thousands of dollars for that equipment. It's crazy, he says. The Trump and Maduro talk had been confirmed, although Levitt from the White House was going to deliberate about Maduro. Hey, the talk happened.
Yes, but before Friday.
But that's just it. There hasn't been another. They even asked him about a second talk, and he declined.
It's just that he spoke. I mean, if you remember, on Saturday, we told you that this was the most tense day, but we didn't tell you that they were there. I mean, Venezuela was talking to Washington, but they weren't answering anymore.
They were answering, yes, exactly, it's an uncertainty. Exactly, it's an uncertainty. It's uncertain, honestly, what comes next. That's why I ask for patience from those watching in Venezuela. I find it interesting that there have been few comments from Maria Corina lately. I feel like she hasn't commented much recently. Let's hope that everything is fine over there. But yeah, right? For example, Gonzalez hasn't spoken in a while. I mean, it's like...
He spoke recently due to his son-in-law being sentenced to 30 years in prison. For nothing, just purely to bother.
Not politics. Yes.
Emilio Rodriguez. Ukrainians have a saying in war. Where there is a Russian, there will be a bullet with his name on it. Greetings, Emilio.
Greetings, Emilio. How have you been?
Greetings to Miguel and Alejandro. Very good.
Miguel, how are you doing? Martin Gutierrez, how are you? How have you been? What does it say? Hi, Pepe, good evening. The neuron computer could have issues like dementia, Alzheimer's, or bipolar disorder. This one, I don't know.
Can you dislike it? Pepe greets Jim, asking how he is, and notes Bukele hasn't been heard from lately.
Correct, he hasn't drawn much attention.
At the international level.
Not exactly at the international level, at least not yet. We'll check later to see what he's up to. You know, he's kind of, well, several things. It seems like some of the most prominent figures have faded away lately, I think, because there's been so much news about other topics.
Hello, Jalus. How are you?
Hey, how have you been?
He says, good, Che. Venezuela was hit with the Chinese curse that says, may you live in interesting times. I'm tired of interesting and historic times. I want to get off. He says, good, Che. I know how now.
Like the phrase that was never actually from Mafalda, but they attribute it to her. I want to get off. The world never stops. I want to get off. And it turns out it's not originally from Mafalda. So they told the author about this, and he found out, he heard about it, but he said, well, no, it's not mine. No, it's not from back then. It's really crazy, and I'm sure it is. Because Mom had the complete collection of Mafalda, and I'm sure it was there. But, well, it's probably from there. What do they call this phenomenon? Where you're sure something happened, but
Mandela.
the Mandela effect is told exactly. Pandelita, how have you been? Greetings.
Greetings to Griselda. Also Griselda Benedito.
How are you doing?
Francisco Wilco.
Greetings, Anna. Hope you're doing well.
Greetings, Angel Murillo, watching from Villegas, Panama.
Greetings to Villegas.
No, it's not Villegas, it's Panama.
Sorry. Great. Well, let's go.
Well, guys, remember that we're on WhatsApp, on Telegram. We send you the live notifications there so you don't miss the information. We have 2 live sessions in the morning and 1 at night.
And one more. Hopefully
You
have finished the popcorn. He stops me there with the thing.
Did you finish them? I think so, since you're not talking anymore.
He finished them, right? He's done and asleep now. Sounds good.
Well, with a full tummy, yes.
A hug, take care. See you tomorrow. We'll be here early. See you later.
Thank you for watching the PP News Live, where the events of planet Earth and outer space secrets are analyzed like nowhere else. Thank you for subscribing.